With Wesley Blake addressing Jaxson Ryker's pro-Trump tweet that got the Forgotten Sons taken off TV, and a new pro wrestling promotion already dead after Andrade and more pulled out of their event, this is Wrestling Up. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report for June 15th. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Up and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Forbes put out an article recapping the foundation of AEW, which included an excerpt regarding finances for the company. The $43.75 million AEW received from TNT last year made up the largest share of its revenue, but that's a rounding error compared to publicly traded WWE's record $974 million in revenue in 2020. Still, AEW's pay-per-view numbers and ticket sales are growing, and the new show will add to its coffer. Khan expects its wrestling division to be profitable this year, though an 8-figure investment in video game development will keep the company in the red for now. The father of AEW president Tony Khan, Shad Khan, was quoted on his thoughts for AEW being started as he said, "I absolutely did not think this was a good idea, but I told Tony, look, when I'm dead and gone, I'm going to be leaving you and your sister a lot of money. Why don't you blow some of that while I'm alive?" Being interviewed by Chris Van Vliet, John Cena touched on a return to WWE, saying, "I very much look forward to wearing jorts again. It's been too long." He had this to say about crowds returning to events. "I, as a performer, am happy for WWE to have crowds again. I really look forward to get back in front of those crowds. But I'm happy for everybody that their music can hit and they can feel that genuine excitement that makes all of our hearts beat." Cena would go on to mention how the pandemic helped wrestlers. "I don't think I would have done very well in this atmosphere without an audience, but I also think that this time without an audience has allowed performers like Roman Reigns, for example, to unobstructively mold his character. If you send Roman from city to city with paying audience after paying audience, there may be some audiences that don't even care what he has to say. They just want to boo him or cheer him or whatever. Without that, especially developing your character and trying to get the message across, like trying to hand someone your business card. I think Roman has absolutely needed this time, and in it has developed his personality and found out who he is. Now when he goes back to live audiences, they aren't confused. He spent this 15-month block defining who he is, and he's the one who can benefit from this. Many watching Raw were confused to see that Jeff Hardy had a match where his career was on the line. When it comes to the scene backstage ringside news, as reported, Vince is on one again, switching around ideas. What was the reason for things like Hardy putting up his career for a TV match for no reason? Vince has been beating up the writers and producers about suggestions for cold matches. There is an unwritten edict now against them. Appearing on the Two-Man Power Trip podcast, former WWE star Wesley Blake touched on Jaxson Ryker's pro-Trump tweet that resulted in the Forgotten Sons being taken off TV. When that tweet happened, I got messages from a couple of the boys and they let me know. Steve texted me as well, and we both messaged Ryker and we were like, "Hey, we're getting some flack here from the boys. Maybe take the tweet down." Ryker is his own man, and he didn't take the tweet down. He thought he was doing something right. I told Ryker, "You didn't tweet that thinking you were going to get in trouble or get us in trouble." He's apologized to me several times and never meant to hurt our careers. He was just showing his support for something he believed in. That was that. Steve and I, once that tweet came out, we went the next day to the Performance Center and offered our apologies to everyone in the locker room to mend fences. We were told that this would not affect us. We were told time heals all wounds, and we were going to lay low for a couple of weeks, and we were going to kick back and working with New Day. After a couple of weeks that faded, and next thing you know, we're sitting at home all summer. We got a call in September, all three of us, saying they were going to bring us back as the Forgotten Sons, but they were going to change our look. They had an idea to bring all of us back together. Then a month goes by, 2 months go by, we don't hear anything. We found out in December that Ryker goes to Raw and we go to SmackDown and we're with Corbin. When we went into the locker room, there was no heat on Steve and myself. We talked to everyone and made apologies on our behalf. There was no heat on our side from the boys' standpoint. I don't know from the office. When we talked to someone from the office, it sounded like there wasn't heat there from creative because it sounded like they were going to keep going with us. While Ryker's tweet would result in his faction being pulled from programming, he is still with the company, appearing on Raw, as Blake and Cutler were let go. In some happy news, Moxley and Renee Paquette's baby has been born, a daughter named Nora. As Renee said, baby girl is officially here, so I'm checking out and becoming a mom. She's absolutely incredible. The WWE on Fox account would write congrats to our good friend Renee Paquette on the birth of her baby girl. With Moxley indefinitely injured by the Young Bucks, he will have plenty of time to be with his family at home. Speaking to Vibe in wrestling, WWE star Sheamus was asked how he would react to someone calling pro wrestling fake. As he responded, "Come on and step in the ring with me, and I will show you how real it is. Ask my opponents." That stigma has been in wrestling or in WWE for decades. I'm proud to bring a very physical style. Look at my matches with Drew, Bobby, or Big E. It's a different element when I'm out there. For those people that say that it's not real, watch my matches throughout the pandemic, especially with those guys, and you won't be able to say it because there is nothing fake about it. Despite his nose injury, the US champion had no plans to vacate his title, as we hope he is able to make a return to the ring soon. When it comes to a new Mexican promotion, Federación Wrestling, they were set to make their debut on the 19th. Still, the event was postponed after the likes of Andrade and Lio Rush pulled out of the show. As Dave Meltzer explained, they're dead, they're done. I mean, you could even argue it's actually a good time to do this. Obviously, these guys were not the guys to do it because they didn't even last a show. So their first show was going to be this weekend and it got canceled today, and there you go. The economics of it made no sense because they were spending big money. There were guys on the show that were getting $10,000 or some that were getting $7,500 for one show, and the gate could not cover it, and nobody buys pay-per-view in Mexico. I suppose they could have gotten some pay-per-view in the US, but the number of people that are going to buy Mexican pay-per-view in the US is really small. Apparently Andrade pulled out because they could not reach a good business decision, as Rush was pulled out citing logistical reasons, with him of course recently announcing retirement due to injury. After being let go recently by WWE, Lana has teased spilling the tea on YouTube in regards to the good and bad of the company, as she had this to say about her husband's reaction when he was released. "You guys have helped me through some parts that I definitely have cried, but it's normal. It's normal. You know, some people don't. My husband was doing cartwheels when he got released, out of excitement. We all have different reactions, and it's okay not to be okay." Goldberg's last match for WWE was in a losing effort to Braun Strowman over the Universal title at WrestleMania. Speaking to Boston Wrestling MWF, John Cena Sr. opened up on how he would like to see the career of Goldberg come to an end. Let him go out on a bright note. They screwed over Kurt Angle, so don't do this. Don't do this. Give him his shine and glory. The man has paid his dues. He's earned it, so let's go and do it the right way. That's my general consensus. Traditionally, wrestlers will lose in their last match, but in the case of Goldberg, maybe there can be an exception made given his very dominant career. And this was your Pro Wrestling News Update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.